Are we on Mars yet, Brendan? What? Where's
No.
the holdup?
So yeah, where's the holdup? That's a good place to start. So last time we talked about SpaceX, they had built they built many prototypes for the Starship rocket. This is the super large vehicle that, 9 meter
Mhm.
diameter, approximately 120 meters tall. It keeps on
Massive.
changing a little bit all the time. Um, just they keep optimizing it and improving it. And we had, I think the last time we were talking, they had done the first stacking, or maybe they hadn't. The first stacking of a full stack, so that being the super heavy booster and the Starship itself on top. So it's a confusing naming scheme. The whole system overall is called Starship, but on Earth only, you need an extra kick to get off the ground, because Earth has the essentially the highest gravity of any rocky planet in the solar system.
Yeah.
And it also has a thick atmosphere, which provides resistance on the way up. So you need an extra bit of oomph to get out of Earth's atmosphere and get into orbit. On any other world, with the exception of Venus,
You could just
yeah,
toss it. You could just take it off the field.
yeah, you can feck it up the field using the engines on the Starship spacecraft itself. But so on Earth, we need a booster, and that is called Super Heavy, which is also a confusing name. SpaceX are very bad at names. Um, and yeah, I could go into that at length. But yeah, so booster number 4 was all ready and built and set up, and it was put on the brand new orbital launch pad, which they have put together over the last, like, I think it took about 6 months from empty field to orbital launch pad with crazy new stacking system, which is this like pair of arms that they call chopsticks that lever in and out. And not only does that put the rocket together on the pad, but also when the mission is accomplished and the booster comes back, it grabs the
Catches
booster,
it.
puts it back
Yeah.
on the pad. Then the spacecraft comes back later, grabs the spacecraft, puts that on top of the rocket again. They
Mhm.
refuel everything, go off again. So it's this like insane contraption. And uh, all of that put together more or less the last time they stacked it with the crane. The chopsticks weren't ready at that point. But yeah, and then they took it apart again. And like there was a photo op, and it was like really cool. They tested a bunch of systems, but they had to take it apart again because the ship wasn't completely finished, and there were some other upgrades to make. And they didn't have a launch date in mind, because when the site that they're working in, which is called recently rechristened Starbase, it's now called Starbase, the city of Starbase, Texas, was formerly Boca Chica Village, where they set up their build site and their testing launch sites and stuff. It's all down there on the very southern tip of Texas, right north of the Mexican border. Like they can spit and hit Mexico from there.
Mm.
And as such, there was concern that Trump's border wall was actually going to be constructed right through the campus of SpaceX. It's literally, there was planning permission requests made for
Shoot,
that.
man.
But anyway, that's a digression. So they stacked the ship on top of the booster. They did their checks and that, and then the launch date for all of that was expected to be relatively soon. Sorry, I have a co-star buzzing around me here.
Unexpected guest.
Yeah, exactly. And then it emerged that the Federal Aviation Commission was doing a new environmental impact statement for the area, because it is protected coastline and wetlands. There's a lot of wildlife around the area, and the same is true in Florida of the Cape Canaveral site. That's actually like the fact that there's a launch facility there has kept development from occurring on that land, because you need a lot of space around these launch pads, clear of anybody because of the
Yeah.
the noise and everything.
You don't want a
But
rocket landing in your backyard.
essentially, yeah. Um, and that's great for Florida because they get a wildlife reserve out of that. I mean, the wildlife has to put up with the occasional thunderous roar from a rocket taking off or landing, but aside from that, they have a great environment. And the same is true in the region of Boca Chica. And so originally when SpaceX bought the land there, they bought the land with the intention of initially launching Falcons and Falcon Heavies. Falcon is the, in air quotes, smaller rocket in SpaceX's line right now. That one is a 3.6 meter diameter rocket, which is still quite sizable. It's the Falcon Heavy is the one that launched the car we were talking about earlier into orbit around the sun, and has done over 100 missions, well over 100 missions. They've actually landed the rocket, the first stage booster. And this is something that's become super routine, but nobody ever landed a booster rocket before the end of 2015. And SpaceX put down their orbital booster rocket for the Orbcomm-2 mission onto the landing pad at Cape Canaveral, and everybody who was watching it absolutely lost their mind.
Hey, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see the full version, go to the Uncle Gold Podcast YouTube channel or watch the next clip.